Hey guys, the Drowsy philosopher here again. Set the day down. We're going to drift through philosophy level by level, from a familiar doorway into deep, quiet waters. We'll start with a classic like the cave, then gently climb to 100 calm ideas. Each concept will be simple, soft, and practical, designed to lighten your thoughts, slow your breath, and help you rest. For now, let the words do the work. You'll understand more while thinking less. Breathe in slowly, breathe out even slower. Let's begin. Level 1, Plato's cave. Think of a dim room where people see only shadows on a wall and mistake them for reality. The thing most people miss is that we all carry our own caves, habitual interpretations, quick judgments, looping stories. At night, shadows get longer. The reason this metaphor helps is simple. When you notice a shadow story, you can step back. What's the shortcut nobody teaches? Name it. Say, that's a shadow, just a thought. Now let me show you exactly how this eases sleep. When a worry rises, an email, a memory, label it shadow. Feel your breath as the light behind you. On the inhale, acknowledge shadow. On the exhale, release wall. The practical result is distance. The story loses its grip. A quick win tonight. Choose one repeating thought and downgrade it from truth to projection. You're not fighting it, you're letting it pass. Level 2, the trolley problem. A runaway train, a lever, a choice that weighs harm and intention. We encounter smaller versions in bed. Should I message back now or let it wait? Do I run through outcomes or do I protect rest? The thing most people miss is that ethical tension drains energy when there's no action to take. If we accept that premise, then what follows? For sleep, choose the gentlest principle available. Do no harm to your resting mind. Here's what that looks like. If you can act now kindly, do it. If not, defer with care. Form a tiny contract. I'll decide tomorrow at 10 a.m. You've made a choice, the loop can close. A common mistake is rehearsing every angle to feel virtuous. But this leads us to a deeper question. Can intention suffice for tonight? Yes. Intend to act well when rested. Your mind reads that as safety. Once you nail that, everything else clicks. Set the lever down, return to breath. Level 3, Occam's razor. Prefer simpler explanations over complex ones when both fit the facts. At night, the mind loves long chains. They didn't reply, so maybe I messed up, which means tomorrow's meeting will be awkward, which means complexity fuels arousal. The better method is a gentle cut. What's the shortest story that fits? Here's the shortcut. Use a 2-word frame. Maybe simple, they're busy, maybe simple, I'm tired. Let me show you exactly how to apply it. Take a spiraling thought and test a simple alternative that doesn't demand more thinking. Then stop. Don't search for proof. Your proof is the easing in your body. A practical exercise. With each exhale, subtract one extra assumption. Project less, rest more. The result is a cleaner mental field. Remember this checkpoint. If you remember nothing else, remember maybe simple. Level 4, the golden mean. Aristotle's idea of virtue as the balance between extremes. Courage sits between rashness and fear. Generosity between waste and stinginess. For sleep, the mean is enough-ness. Not too early, not too late, not over-analysis, not avoidance, just right. The thing most people miss is that balance is felt in the body before it's argued in the mind. The reason this works is that your nervous system calibrates through gentle boundaries. Here's a simple practice. Choose a bedtime window, not a minute mark. Lower the lights, lower your voice, lower your scrolling. Aim for quiet adequate, not perfect routine. Now you might be thinking, what if I miss the window? Then you adjust, not punish. Virtue is the average of many nights, not the verdict of one. A concrete example, 2 tasks left. Do one with care, write the other down, and honor the close. That is the mean in action, neither indulgence nor rigidity. Level 5, Cartesian doubt. Tonight we ask, what can't be doubted? Descartes stripped away every assumption. Senses can mislead, memories can blur, even elaborate reasoning can err. The point isn't to conjure fear, it's to find a steady floor. The thing most people miss is that doubt can be a grounding tool when used gently. Let's use it as a soft broom, not a hammer. Ask, what can't be doubted right now? You can't doubt that experience is happening. You can't doubt that a breath is moving, even if faint. The reason this helps at night is simple. When you reach the rock bottom of certainty, this present awareness, you stop digging for more arguments. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. If a thought spirals, touch what's undeniable. The fabric on your skin, the coolness of air at your nostrils, the rise and fall beneath your palm, that's your anchor. Common mistake? Doubting everything and forgetting to land somewhere. Land in sensation. The practical result is calm, less noise, more contact. Let the question narrow to a single answer. There is a breath, and it's enough. Level 6, the cogito. I think, therefore I am. Or more softly, awareness is here, therefore you are. This clicked for me when I stopped treating the sentence like a trophy and used it as a nightlight. Thoughts may be tangled, awareness is simple. The thing most people miss is that the cogito isn't about fancy thinking. It's about noticing the fact of noticing. Here's what that looks like. Feel the breath and silently say, aware. On the exhale, here. Aware, here. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Awareness doesn't need to solve the thought to let it go. The reason this works is that your nervous system trusts steady attention. It relaxes under a gentle gaze. Let me show you exactly how to apply it. When a memory or plan shows up, acknowledge it as proof of being, not a problem to fix. A thought appeared, that means I'm here. Then return to the breath. The quick win is that identity shifts from the thought content to the witnessing. You're not the worry. You're the space that can hold it and soften it. Level 7, empiricism versus rationalism. 2 ways of knowing travel side by side. Empiricism leans on experience, what you can observe and measure. Rationalism leans on reason, what you can deduce and infer. At night, these become 2 tools for checking beliefs. The thing most people miss is that you don't have to choose a camp. You can ask 2 questions. First, empiricist. What do I actually sense now? Second, rationalist. What follows if my thought is true? Here's the shortcut. Pair them to diffuse anxiety. Suppose the thought says, tomorrow will be a disaster. Empiricist, check. Is there evidence right now in this room that tomorrow is collapsing? Usually, no, only a racing heart and a busy mind. Rationalist, check. If the thought were true, would worrying at 1 a.m. improve anything? No, it would reduce rest, which harms tomorrow. Therefore, even if the worry had a grain of truth, resting now still serves you. The result is a calm decision. Observe the present, reason about the effect, and choose the action that helps both. A common mistake is collecting endless evidence or endless arguments. Keep both checks brief. 1 sensory note, 1 logical note, 1 breath. Level 8, foundationalism versus coherentism. How do beliefs stand? Foundationalism says some beliefs are bedrock, self-evident truths supporting others. Coherentism says beliefs hold together like a web. Mutual support matters more than a single base. For sleep, both are helpful. The thing most people miss is that bedtime is the best time to tidy your web and reset to simple foundations. Let's do both. Foundational reset. Choose 1 or 2 bedrock truths for the night. Breath is present. Rest helps tomorrow. Coherent, tidy. Scan for beliefs that don't fit the bedtime web. I must finish everything now. That tangles the strands. Rename it daytime belief. Place it on a morning list. The reason this works is that the mind craves structure. When your web is tidied and your base is simple, rumination loses its hooks. Here's a tiny practice. Whisper 3 lines. Base, I'm breathing. Web, I'm resting. Outlier, that can wait. Then let the jaw unhook, the tongue rest, the eyelids grow heavier. A common mistake is trying to rebuild the whole web at night. Don't. Move one strand, confirm the base. Sleep does the rest. Level 9, dualism. The old question, is mind separate from body, or are they one? You don't need a final answer tonight. You just need a useful distinction. The thing most people miss is that pain has 2 layers. There's the raw sensation, and there's the story we tell about it. The reason this matters for sleep is that you can ease one even if the other lingers. Let's explore that idea. Gently scan for any tension, a brow, a jaw, a shoulder. Name the sensation in plain words: warm, tight, pulsing. That's the body. Now notice the narrative riding alongside. This shouldn't be here. I won't sleep. Tomorrow is ruined. That's the mind weaving. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Soften the story without fighting the signal. Try this phrasing. Sensation is present, the story can rest. Inhale to feel the simple signal. Exhale to set down the commentary. The practical change is small but real. Severity drops when you stop rehearsing the plot of discomfort. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Sensation is a wave. Narrative is the wind. Calm the wind and the wave is easier to ride. Level 10. Physicalism. The view that mind is what the brain does. Thoughts, moods, and dreams are patterns in your nervous system. The benefit tonight is humble and concrete. You can help the patterns settle. The thing most people miss is that sleep is neural housekeeping. Waste clears, memories sort, circuits reset. You don't need to outthink biology, you can work with it. Let me show you exactly how. First, simple inputs. Lower the light, cool the air, ease the breath longer on the exhale. Second, signals of safety. Place a hand on the chest or belly and feel the rhythm you're setting. Third, reduce novelty. Pick a single resting phrase and use it like a gentle metronome. Safe to rest. The reason this works is that your body reads cues. Consistent, quiet cues whisper, stand down. A common mistake is arguing with feelings instead of changing conditions. Change one condition, then let time do the work. If a thought pushes back, but what about that email? Answer with a physical practice. Relax the tongue, unclench the hands, lengthen the exhale. Thoughts respect what the body repeats. Level 11. The bundle theory. The idea that the self isn't a single core, but a collection of experiences, traits, and memories bundled together. It's a necklace of moments, not a single bead. At night, this loosens the grip of identity. The thing most people miss is that you can rest all yourselves by not forcing one to dominate. Consider this thought experiment. There's a work self, a family self, a private self, a student self, a friend self. None needs to run the show at 1 a.m. Here's the shortcut. Rotate the bundle to sleeper self. Give it the microphone. How? A simple script. Work self, thank you. You can sign off. Planner self, thank you. Schedule saved. Critic self, thank you. Notes received. Sleeper self, you're on. The reason this helps is that internal roles respond to permission. When one steps back, the volume drops. The quick win is a felt lightness around the chest and eyes. A common mistake is trying to silence all parts at once. Don't battle, reassign. If a role resists, promise a morning appointment. Put it on your note page, close the page, close the roll. Level 12, extended mind. Your mind doesn't stop at the skull. Tools, notebooks, and routines act like external memory. Offloading reduces load. The thing most people miss is that insomnia often comes from trying to keep the whole to-do list online. You can move it out. Let's turn this into practice. Keep a simple capture ritual within reach. When a thought insists, don't forget the call, check the bill, buy the thing, inhale, write 5 words, and exhale as you close the page. Then pair the notebook with a cue, place it face down, and say, stored. The reason this works is that the brain trusts containers. When information has a home, it stops knocking. Another extension is environmental. Put your phone across the room, screen down, night mode on. That's not discipline alone, that's design doing the job for you. Common mistake, capturing without closing. Always add a tiny plan line, when and where you'll look. Morning desk after coffee. Your mind hears the plan and releases its grip. Level 13, Heraclitus. Everything flows. You never step into the same river twice because new water is always moving through. The thing most people miss is that this isn't a threat, it's a lullaby. Breath is the river you can feel. Inhale, the tide arrives. Exhale, the tide recedes. The reason this helps at night is that change has a rhythm and the body knows it. Let me show you exactly how to lean on that rhythm. As you inhale, silently say, arriving. As you exhale, leaving. Arriving, leaving. Thoughts will drift on the surface like leaves. You don't have to remove them. The river carries them downstream. A common mistake is trying to freeze the water, holding the breath, holding a thought, holding the day. Instead, let the current keep moving. If you remember nothing else here, remember this. Flow doesn't ask you to do more, it asks you to do less. Trust the motion that's already happening. Shoulders loosen when you give the current permission. Level 14, Parmenides. If Heraclitus is the river, Parmenides is the still bed beneath it, the claim that what truly is does not change. Tonight, treat stillness as the quiet ground under experience. The thing most people miss is that stillness isn't the absence of sound. It's the stable space that holds every sound. The reason this matters is that a stable frame calms the nervous system. Consider this thought experiment. Sense the small movements, breath in the ribs, pulse in the fingers, fabric shifting. Now, widen awareness to the room itself, the steady weight of the mattress, the unmoving wall, the ceiling that does not care about thoughts. Here's the shortcut. Rest attention on something steady for a few breaths, the heaviness of the blanket, the contact of heel with sheet. Let the steadiness be your teacher. A common mistake is chasing stillness, checking if it's here yet. Instead, allow it to be the background that doesn't need your effort, arriving and leaving on the breath, grounded in what stays. Level 15, Presentism versus Eternalism. Does only the present exist, or do past, present, and future all stand together like pages in a book? We don't need to settle the debate to fall asleep. We just need a helpful stance. For rest, presentism is practical. Only now asks for your attention. The thing most people miss is that time travel happens in thought, replaying earlier pages, jumping ahead to later ones, while the body lives on the current line. The reason this works is that attention is finite. Where you place it shapes arousal. Let me show you exactly how to return to now. Name 3 present anchors: contact, temperature, sound. Contact, where your body meets the bed. Temperature, the cool air at the nose, the warm skin under the blanket. Sound, distant, near, then closest, the breath. If a memory arrives, nod to it as page before. If a plan appears, Nod as page after. Then ask, what's on this line? Answer with one sensation. A common mistake is arguing with the past or negotiating with the future. No argument is required. The present doesn't need a defense, it only needs your company. Level 16, Ship of Theseus. If a ship has each plank replaced over time, is it the same ship? The thing most people miss is that continuity isn't a single piece, it's a pattern that renews itself. Your body replaces cells, your habits shift, your stories evolve. You remain not by staying identical, but by staying connected. For sleep, this unlocks renewal. You can be a same and new you by morning. Here's the shortcut. Treat tonight as the harbor where repairs happen. You don't need to inspect every plank, you just need to dock. Choose one plank to replace, a late scroll for an earlier wind down, a harsh thought for a gentler one, a rigid demand for a flexible plan. The reason this works is that identity is a living process. Small, repeated swaps build a vessel that holds you better. Let me show you a tiny ritual. Whisper, docked. Feel the exhale lengthen. Whisper, repair. Relax the hands. Whisper, sail at dawn. Place one note for the morning, then close the book. A common mistake is fearing that change erases you. It doesn't. It maintains you. Renewal is how continuity survives the night. Level 17, Wittgenstein's language games. Words mean what we do with them. A game of language is just a pattern of use in a shared life. The thing most people miss is that inner talk is also a game, often played with harsh rules we never chose. Tonight, we choose gentler rules. Consider this thought experiment. If you told a friend, you failed the day, would that help? Probably not, yet we say it to ourselves. Here's the shortcut. Change the game by changing the use. Replace must with could. Replace always with often. Replace never with not yet. The reason this works is that grammar guides feeling. Softer words loosen tight muscles. Let me show you exactly how. Take a stubborn sentence and rewrite it in a kinder game. I must fix this now becomes I could note this now and rest. I never sleep well becomes I haven't slept well yet. Tonight is one try. A common mistake is arguing with the sentence. Don't argue, rewrite the game. Whisper it once, then let silence carry the rest. Now you might be thinking, does changing words really change reality? It changes your moves in the game, and your moves shape outcomes. The tone you use with yourself is a rule others can't see, but your body obeys it. Choose rules that help you rest. Level 18, Map versus Territory. A map is a model, useful, limited, and not the land itself. At night, we confuse day maps with the territory of rest. The to-do list is a map. The story of what someone meant is a map. The territory is the breath, the bed, the dark. The thing most people miss is that maps multiply when we're tired, and each new one demands inspection. The better method is polite dismissal. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Map down. When a thought map opens, plans, predictions, replays, say map down, and place attention on one piece of territory, contact, warmth, sound. The reason this works is that perception quiets when grounded in the actual. Let me show you exactly how. Feel the weight of your calves on the mattress. That's territory. Hear the soft room tone. Territory. Notice the slow drift of the chest. Territory. If the mind insists, but the plan, reply, map in the morning. A common mistake is treating the map as emergency. Almost none are. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Maps help you travel the day. The territory helps you sleep. Level 19, Principle of Charity. Interpret others in their best reasonable light. Tonight, turn it inward. charitable interpretation softens the inner critic. The thing most people miss is that fatigue shrinks generosity. We assume the worst about our choices. The reason this matters is that blame spikes arousal. We can reverse it with a single charitable move. Consider this: what if your late email wasn't laziness, but limits? What if the awkward moment wasn't failure, but learning? Here's the shortcut. Add one generous clause. Given the day I had, this was good enough. Given the information I had, that was a fair call. Let me show you a tiny practice. On the inhale, name the event. On the exhale, add the generous clause. Missed workout, given the long day. Short reply, given the time zone. The body hears permission and unwinds. A common mistake is thinking charity excuses harm. It doesn't. It levels the field, so repair is possible tomorrow. For now, charity reduces rumination. It tells the nervous system, we're safe to rest. But this leads us to a deeper question. Can we extend charity to the thoughts themselves? Instead of fighting them, we can assume they try to help. Worry is a clumsy guardian. Thank it and ask it to stand down. Gratitude is a quiet off switch. Level 20, semiotics, sign, object, interpretant. A sign points to something, we interpret the link. Night thoughts are full of signs, words, images, sensations, linked to meanings we can lighten. The thing most people miss is that we treat the sign as the thing. A tight chest becomes danger. A silence becomes rejection. The better method is to insert space between sign and sense. Here's the shortcut. 3 steps. Label, link, loosen. Label the sign. Tightness, silence, image. Link it softly. This often means stress. This could mean many things. Loosen the bond. Tonight, it's just a sign passing through. The reason this works is that interpretation is optional. You can let signs float without binding them to alarm. Let me show you exactly how with a simple drill. Inhale, sign, exhale, scene, inhale, meaning, exhale, maybe. Then return to contact with the bed. A common mistake is chasing the perfect meaning. Meanings are tools, not treasures. If a meaning helps you rest, keep it. If it tightens the chest, set it down. Level 21, deontology. Duties are simple rules we commit to because they're right, not because they're convenient. Tonight, make a small rule. Do no harm to your self-talk. The thing most people miss is that duty can be gentle. It isn't a whip. It's a railing you can hold in the dark. Here's the shortcut. Write a single bedtime maxim in your mind. I speak to myself with respect. Then try it in practice. When a harsh line arises, you blew it. Apply the rule. I don't harm with words. Rewrite it once, softly. I tried within my limits. The reason this works is that consistent language signals safety. Your nervous system follows tone more than logic. Add a ritual to make it real. On the inhale, respect. On the exhale, kept. A common mistake is turning rules into burdens. Keep one rule, not 10. Make it doable, testable, and kind. If you slip, the duty is to return, not to scold. Level 22, utilitarianism. Choose what reduces suffering and increases well-being overall. For sleep, the calculus is clear. A rested you helps more people tomorrow than a ruminating you helps tonight. The thing most people miss is immediate cost versus total benefit. Worry feels like effort, but it rarely pays out. Let me show you exactly how to run a gentle nighttime calculus. Ask 2 questions. Will thinking more now reduce harm tomorrow? Will resting now increase good tomorrow? If the first answer is no, and the second is yes, the utility is to rest. Here's a tiny maneuver. Schedule a 10-minute decision block after breakfast. Name the topic. Then give yourself a receipt. harm down by sleep, help up by clarity. The reason this works is that your mind likes reasons. It doesn't need a spreadsheet, just a direction. A common mistake is measuring only one person's feelings, often your own in the next 5 minutes. Widen the view to your future self and the people you'll serve. When you care for tonight's rest, you raise the total tomorrow. Level 23, Virtue Ethics. Character grows through habits, one small act at a time. Tonight's invitation is to practice one tiny virtue, patience. The thing most people miss is that patience isn't waiting passively. It's choosing a steady pace under strain. Your body learns that rhythm. Here's the shortcut. Pair patience with breath. Inhale, let it take time. Exhale, I have time. Patience means you don't rush sleep, you allow it. It also means you don't rush judgment on your day. Let me show you exactly how to embody it. When a thought demands immediate resolution, respond with a patient move. Slow the exhale, relax the hands, say, tomorrow answers better. The reason this works is that virtue is felt before it's proven. Muscles soften, pulse steadies, and the mind mirrors the body. A common mistake is aiming for heroic virtue at midnight. Keep it small. Patience for 4 breaths, kindness in 1 sentence to yourself, temperance in 1 choice, lights down, phone away. These are seeds that grow a character who sleeps. Level 24, Ethics of Care. Morality is not only rules and results, it's relationships and responsibilities held with tenderness. Tonight, care for future you as if they were someone you love. The thing most people miss is that care is concrete. It lives in boundaries, in tone, in small preparations. Here's the shortcut. Treat rest as care for your network, friends, family, colleagues, through care for the one who meets them tomorrow. Consider a simple script. I care for us by resting now. Then show that care. Water by the bed. Notebook closed with a morning note. Curtains drawn to the same length each night. The reason this works is that predictability nourishes trust. Your body trusts you when your habits are steady. Let me show you a quick practice called the care cycle. 3 breaths, 3 phrases. Inhale. Body, I'm with you. Exhale. Mind, I'm gentle. Inhale. Tomorrow I'll show up. Exhale. Now I'll lie down. Feel how each line softens effort. Level 25. Free will versus determinism. Do you choose or are you carried by causes? Late at night, that question can tighten the chest. Let's soften it. The thing most people miss is that even if causes shape us, attention is still a lever. You can choose your next breath. That tiny choice changes chemistry, which changes thought. Here's the practical move. When the mind asks, am I free? Answer with a gentle action. Inhale through the nose for 4. Pause for 1. Exhale for 6. Again. You just exercised a slice of agency. The reason this works is that choice lives best in small, repeatable acts. You don't need to settle the metaphysics. You can select one cue, lights down, posture soft, phone away. A common mistake is arguing freedom in your head while ignoring the body. Let the body decide for rest. If determinism feels heavy, consider this. Causes include kind habits you plant. Each breath becomes a cause for calm. Once you nail that, everything else clicks. Freedom feels less like a grand verdict, more like a quiet practice. Level 26, Compatibilism. Freedom as alignment with your values, even in a world of causes. Think of it as steering with the current, or rather than against it. The thing most people miss is that alignment shrinks the set of decisions you have to make at night. You create a few wise rails and let them carry you. Here's the shortcut. Plan small, let go big. Before evening, choose 2 sleep rails. Wind down window and last screen time. Tonight, follow the rails, then release the rest. Let me show you exactly how. Whisper your rails. Lights dim at 10. Phone away at 10:30. When a stray thought says, break the rule, just this once, answer with alignment. I keep promises to myself. The reason this works is that identity loves consistency. Each kept rail reinforces. I'm someone who cares for rest. A quick win is to pair rails with cues. Lamp to warm color, playlist to soft, notebook face down. Common mistake? Designing 10 rails and failing all of them. Keep 2. Make them obvious and forgiving. If you slip, re-enter on the next breath. Compatibilism becomes a feeling. Inner friction lowers because your actions match your aims.